Out now. They are Robert Rodriguez and Frank Miller. Frank Miller is So, Robert, I have a question for you. It used to be when Hollywood decided to make a movie out of a comic book, they would start by saying, how do we fix this?
How do we adapt it? How do we adapt it?
I think they thought it was broken, too, in some ways. Like, they would lose a lot of the things that made it what it was.
Well, I think people would think that, there were two different mediums, comics, and then there were movies, and that they were completely different. So you would have to adapt it into a movie. And when I would see the work, especially Frank Miller, where he's the writer and the creator of the visuals, I saw that he was doing the most groundbreaking, original, breathtaking visual storytelling that I had seen in any medium. And I couldn't understand why you couldn't just translate that to the screen rather than try and take that book and turn it into a movie. Why not take movies and turn it into Frank's work? So that's what the whole Sin City was about. And it was actually 10 years ago, almost to the day, that we were here to show the first footage about 8 months before it came out, and you all were the first people to see it and support it and say, wow, that's really different. Just as a question, who was here 10 years ago to see that original? That was...
I remember him.
It changed, it was a new way to look at cinema and a way to look at technology and a way to look at comic books and graphic novels. And I think that's why things kind of changed. I think for the better. Frank says that.
Yeah, I think that the comic book movies that have been coming out have been getting better because they've been closer to the source material. It's one thing to sit down at a drawing board and create something out of whole cloth, and write it and have it be completely your vision, and then be willing to test it on a relatively small market. And a completely different thing to take some existing character and throw him into a boardroom full of a bunch of people who think that comic books are crap, and turn out something that really proves they can be.
That's the studio. That's exciting. Frank, as a comic book reader, since I was reading. It's been fascinating to watch the journey of your art and your body of work. It seems to me, in a way, you're almost like on a Picasso-like journey, trying to deconstruct the action on the page. Or I hope you agree, or else I'm gonna look really stupid. But do you agree? You don't.
Well, actually, the way I started Sin City was a first in my career, because for one thing, I'd always wanted to do crime stories, and when I first came into comics, they would only publish stories about guys in tights. So I had to learn how to draw them. And I would work in as many crime elements as I could. But then because of my work on Batman and other projects, I was invited to become a screenwriter, and I was not happy with the process at all. There was too many bosses. Being a screenwriter is, a screenplay is kind of like a fire hydrant with a row of dogs going all the way around the block, lining up for it. So I moved away and sat down and decided to create the comic book that could not be adapted to the movies. And it was Sin City.